Hi, and welcome to our next live Facebook video. I'm Chris, this is Megan. I'm sure you know as well by now. We're going to be focusing this week a bit on the impact of social media on mental health, but we'll also be talking quite generally as well. As before, anything you want to say, anything you want to ask, try and keep it mental health related, that'd be good. Just drop it into the comments and we'll try and answer them the best that we can. And yeah, I'm going to hand over to Meg first.
I'm going to give it a little bit of time to see who joins us. Just keep us live a minute. We don't want to be talking to ourselves, do we, Chris?
We don't.
Let's see who's going to join us. If no one does, we will anyway, because I know people come back and replay the live anyway. But let's just give it a minute. One person has joined us. Welcome. I'll literally give it a minute, so like 2 minutes, and then we're going to dive into our topic today, which is social media versus mental health. Because we know it has a massive effect, doesn't it, Chris?
It does on all of us.
It does.
One way or another.
We got 3 people with us now. Right, shall we just crack on into what we want to talk about today?
You could just drop us a hi in the comments or...
Yeah. Oh, hello. Good morning, Lorraine. Good morning, Kenneth.
Hi.
It is the morning, isn't it? Yeah, it's 11.
Is. Yes.
Yeah. Very switched on this week, I am. We are going to start our conversation in a minute, but if you've got any thoughts about social media and mental health or any questions about it, morning, Claire.
Hi, Claire.
Yeah, I think we're going to get all our comments today, which is going to be fun. We're not going to miss any, hopefully. We'll get the swing of it. Okay, so I think what we're going to do first is just talk through the downsides to social media. We're going to start on a down and go up from there. And I just want to know if you've got any thoughts on what you think can be problematic about social media. So we've got a few thoughts, haven't we, Chris? So one of my worst things about social media is losing time. I will get up in the morning, it's the first thing I do. I open my eyes, I start scrolling on social media. It's the last thing I do before I go to bed. And sometimes I can sit there and, no word of a lie, I have been scrolling through Instagram for about 2 hours aimlessly. Achieved nothing, but compared my life to billionaires and been very sad about it. But I can honestly lose about 2 hours without thinking about it. So that's one of my biggest ones. We're gonna bounce between us what we think the downsides are. If I keep looking down, it's because I've got lots of ideas down here.
Yeah, on a similar vein, I'm sure we all do it. I find myself scrolling through my Facebook feed all the time, and there's very little new stuff in there between the last couple of hours since I last scrolled through, and it does become a little bit of a waste of time. The same Meg said, you waste time. It's worth maybe turning on screen time on your phones and just seeing how much time you are spending on a particular social media app. I think, is that worth it? Could I be doing something else, something a bit more productive in that time? And just before we go on, I do understand that there's a slight bit of irony talking about the benefits and negatives of social media on the social media channel. But that is also one of the benefits of social media, is the connectivity of it. You can stay connected. I stay in touch with people I went to school with, wouldn't otherwise. We would have lost touch 20 years ago. But it is one of the benefits and the friendship and that can come from it. And also the ability to have this conversation now. It's not like just putting a video up on a web page. It's just a one-way street. We can have a two-way conversation through this medium.
On that note of what Chris has just said, on limiting your time spent on social media, I'm jumping to my top tips here. There are 3 apps. There's one called Moment, one called Off Time, and one called Hold, which are all designed to limit or filter your use on social media, so you can put time limits on each social media, so you can set it. You can do it for your kids as well. If anyone's got kids and they're kind of worried about how much time they're spending on social media, you can set time. So if you want to do like, they can have an hour on TikTok, they can have 2 hours on YouTube, and then that app will shut down until you then give them more time. You can do it on yourself. So say you set yourself a 4-hour limit on social media in a whole in the day. It sounds like a lot, but I'll do that in the morning, and then all your apps will shut down until the next day. Obviously you can switch them off, but it gives you that nudge. And then things like Moment and Hold. With Hold, you get pocket points. So the more your phone is in your pocket, you get points and stuff, so that's quite fun. And Moment just lets you know, it gives you a little review at the end of each day, saying like, you've spent 4 hours on Instagram, you've spent 2 hours being productive, you've spent 30 minutes texting, and it just raises your awareness. I think if you're already thinking about your awareness of how social media affects your life, then that's great. I think it's when we're just aimlessly going through life feeling a little bit, I was going to swear then, a little bit rubbish, and not realising the effect that social media can have on us. Let me just read some of these comments. Lorraine, some people can be rude to others for no reason. That is one of the big downsides I've got. Cyberbullying. And check yourself as well. When you go to comment, think to yourself, would I say this to somebody's face? Would I say this? Is it kind? Is it necessary? Do I want it to exist online forever? So that's another one of the downsides I've wrote down. What you post can never really entirely be deleted. So just be sure that what you're going to say is what you mean and is something you'd be okay with being seen forever online. It sounds quite dramatic, but things can really crop up and bite you in the bum. So just make sure what you're saying is what you really mean. And even if it is what you mean, it's not very kind, keep it to yourself. Don't put it online. Say it to your friends. It's a very public forum, isn't it?
Yeah, and part of it as well is, I said, some people can be rude to others for no reason. And Ken's mentioned social media warriors, keyboard warriors. And part of it is because you're almost not a real person at the other side of the screen. You're an avatar almost. There isn't a personal relationship between two people. And I think that sort of gives some people an excuse to just say what's on their head, put no filter in place. And like Megan said, if you wouldn't say to somebody in real life, certainly don't type it on. It has exactly the same effect. But some of the same problems you can get through messages is you can lose tone quite easily. Something you type may come across as being quite rude, and that might not have been your intention. You were trying to be a little bit jokey, a bit sarcastic, but you can't put that tone over. So you do need to think, what does that sound like? What will that sound like to somebody else who's reading this? And again, you see, I'm only joking. People can't have a laugh. Well, you sometimes just need to try to be a bit funny to start off with.
No.
Yeah, same. It's always been the same. All even in the real world, I was only having a laugh, but it wasn't particularly funny. So again, sometimes just put a bit of a check in place. Really, try and have a filter. Do try a 10-second breathe before you type something. I don't know, I've probably done it from time to time. But normally it is, if I put something on, it's just trying to counteract. And again, like Claire's mentioned, you can get a lot of misinformation on social media.
# fake news.
But in the real sense, not in the sense that's become to mean now. It's just in the real sense of fake news is, you can get a lot of misinformation. Check sources, check information. And again, sometimes one of the things that my bugbears is on social media, and I have unfollowed a lot of pages and stopped reading certain pages, is because of the amount of misinformation that gets put out there. If you try and put give another source to somebody, they'll go, well, that's just the liberal media, it doesn't mean anything. So it's still better than just somebody.
I'm just getting the giggles, right? I'm so sorry. I've just realised I've got one earring in. That is how my day's going. Sorry.
Okay.
Right, that is just how my day's going.
Yeah, and Ken's also said due to his mental health, it's his link to the world, that being part of the world. And it is for many people. It can be a lifesaver. I mean, without modern technology, the last 18 months, don't know what that would have been like for a lot of people. It is a connection. It's a connection for us as a charity to people. It helps us to get our word out. And again, anybody who does, for whatever reason, struggles to get out and about, it can be a lifesaver.
And I think on that though, Kenneth, I think that can also be a downside, and that is something. One of the big talking points I've got on the downside, lack of real life connection. Some people do substitute their online life for their real life, and I think that's when it can become quite an issue. I think social media and technology should be an addition. Megan, you make me smile, thought it was a new fashion. Honestly, it's always something.
Think about the pirate look.
Yeah, I think I could start a trend. I'm gonna put that out there. Anyway, sorry, Kenneth. Yes. I think social media and technology should be an extension to our lives, not a replacement for seeing people face to face. And I think that's something we all need to check sometimes is are we replacing meeting a friend for a coffee or a walk with a FaceTime or a message? And obviously, yes, if you're squeezing it into your lives and you're connecting with long distance friends, new friends, great. But please try and make sure it's an addition to your life, not a replacement of real life connection. Because I do think that's going to be a real long term side effect of social media, this struggling to socialise, connect with people. I do think social skills are changing with the younger kids and stuff. They're completely different. Like, my niece, she'll pull out her phone and she'll do a YouTube video, a TikTok, confident as anything. You ask her to say hi to like a new person or a stranger. Well, not a stranger, that's a bit weird, isn't it? You know what I mean? A new person. And she goes in herself and she's shy. But get the camera in front of her, the phone, selfie mode, that's it. 100% loves it. So I do think that there's a different way of socialising, but it's not the same. We're humans, our brains need face-to-face human connection. But yeah, I do think it can be good as well. What do we all think on effects on how we feel about ourselves? So self-esteem, body image. Do we think social media affects that? And if we do, how do we think it does? Have I got any thoughts on that? I'll give you mine in a minute. One earring. And look at our analytics. What do you think, Chris?
I think people rarely put the bad on social media. So when you're reading other people's posts and seeing their life, you only see the good parts of it. You don't see the downsides to it. So you sort of judging yourself against a false reality almost. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Negative effects on self-image. Yeah, for sure, Andrea. Some things on social media can lift your mood, can also give you ideas to save money. Yeah, there is a lot of positives, isn't there, Lorraine? Like, as in job opportunities. It does make a lot of things more accessible to us. Kenneth, it boosts my confidence as we look so different on screen. Yeah, I think there can be something really nice, especially Instagram. That's my favourite social media. I think it can be really nice to see great pictures of yourselves, capture memories, have them all kind of in a little picture format. I think there can be something really nice about it. But I think more than anything, social media this is just my opinion, by the way, is detrimental to how we feel about ourselves. We are comparing our real life with someone else's highlight reel. I don't put myself on in the morning. I wouldn't even put a picture on looking like this now. You go on my Instagram, you go, who's that? That's not Megan. It's just heavily filtered. I mean, to be honest, I don't heavily filter my stuff anymore because I'm quite careful about that. Because what happens when we're doing that all the time is we just become dissatisfied with what we actually look like. Like when I smile and my teeth aren't as white as paper, or my eyes aren't sparkling, my skin isn't looks like it's had fresh Botox, then I'm not happy. And it can become a real issue. So I had a friend and she was addicted to using lots of different filters and editing her pictures a lot. And I'd take a lovely picture of her, just a normal photo, and she would be so unhappy with it. And it's taken us about maybe 4 months to get her off the filters, and we finally got her back to a place where she's feeling happy with a normal picture of herself without bunny ears, love heart eyes, I don't know. What else do we get? Dog ears.
Dog ears, dog noses.
Yeah. It's crazy what you can do on filtering apps now. Like, you can like touch your nose, make it smaller, touch your lips, make them bigger. And you can't tell that they're edited. They look real, and that's quite scary. It can lead to massive, massive issues like body dysmorphia and just low self-esteem in general, becoming unhappy with your real, which is not good. So just be careful if you're doing that. Really limit your use on touching up photos and using filters. Real is always nicer. Claire, I gave up worrying about social image a while ago. It was driving me daft. Yeah, it will. Safina, sometimes it can be sad, absolutely. Wait there, Chris has put the reactions in front of the comment. I was thinking hard to walk through sometimes. I don't quite know what you mean by that, Safina.
Hard to work through.
Yeah, maybe work through, yeah. It is, it really, sometimes I can be in a great mood, I wake up, I go on Instagram, I start scrolling, and before I know it, I'm miserable because I don't look like Kim Kardashian and I haven't got a Bugatti fuming. Andrea, the selling of beauty products convince you that you need to look a certain way. It's hard to avoid the ads. So that was another big talking point that I'd put down. Educate yourselves on what these apps are made for. I mean, we don't need to go down a big hole of conspiracies and people listening to our phones. However, our activity is tracked on apps and it's targeted, your ads are targeted to you. And apps know when you're scrolling through Instagram, you might feel a little bit inadequate if you're following Kim Kardashian, Beyonce, and Kylie Jenner. It's inevitable. You might start questioning yourself. And then all of a sudden we see these apps for Kylie's lip skin kit, make your waist smaller, do this, do that, sell this. And it's targeted and the apps know your behaviour. So just be aware that when you're on these apps, they're always selling something. They might look like free apps. They're not. They're not because...
Yeah. But linked to that again, not just the app itself, it's some of the people who are on the apps, like on the Instagram influencers, go, oh, look at this amazing weight loss pill I've got. And they're being paid to do that. And if you check the hashtags, most of them will probably have a hashtag ad in there or hashtag free item or something similar.
Spawn, gifted.
Hidden, quite well hidden down in the bottom of the information. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just be mindful of what's being put over as well.
Hashtag gifted. I'm joking.
If only.
No, we don't even get gifted a Pepsi.
But if Pepsi would like to sponsor changes, that would be very good. Thank you.
But that's literally what it is. It is like Chris said, you scroll and it says hashtag ad. And you're like, oh, you've been paid a few £1,000s to tell me that this is great and this works. And you don't know that it does. And we get sucked in. We get so sucked in. So just, again, we don't need to demonise social media. Just be aware that that is what's happening. And just check in with yourself. After you've had a scroll, do you feel better or do you feel worse?
No, and you mentioned as well that your friend got addicted to it, and that's what they're designed to do. There's been some reports coming out from people who've worked in social media companies, and that's what it is. It's the algorithm designed to keep you coming back for more. So it is designed to keep you roped in, keep you addicted. So again, just be mindful of that. Like I said, come back to your screen time and what else can you do? And so the Mikey says, if you feel worse at the end of it, is it worth your time?
And just on the note of noticing how you feel, I always feel irritable. I know when I've spent too much time on my phone. I don't know if that's something to do with actual screen time, like the light in my eyes, I don't know, or because of the content I'm consuming. But when I spend too much time on my phone, I get so irritable. Just notice that.
But again, that links into your blue light off your devices. Doesn't it can interfere with your sleep patterns. So if you're already struggling with your mental health, you're spending a lot of time on your phone at night time, scrolling through social media, the blue light will interfere with your sleep pattern, will make you sleep worse.
Mm-hmm.
It will affect your mental health, and it becomes a bit of a spiral. So again, it's just another thing to be wary of.
And if you are struggling with your sleep, not to go into a full sleep presentation, blue light glasses, I have got them and I do genuinely, it's not an ad, lol, I do genuinely think they work. They're supposed to stop the blue light, so sometimes I'll put them on before I go to sleep if I'm on my phone. The best option would be keep your technology out of your room, go off your phone a few hours before you sleep, but I mean, not a lot of us are going to do that, are we? So whack some blue light glasses on.
I mean, quite a few devices now have a blue light filter that you can turn on as well. So just another sort of cross ad, every little helps, sort of.
Yeah, I'm going to skip over to some more tips. Positives. We've said a lot about the negatives about social media, but there are a lot of positives. Like Chris said, us being here now, being able to have this conversation, almost anyone in the world could connect with us right now, send us a comment, chat to us. And I think that's pretty amazing. Long distance communication. And one of the really great things is finding your people. So finding a community and make sure you're using your social media for that. Don't just aimlessly scroll at things that make you feel rubbish about yourself. Actively find your people that have same interests as you, people that kind of live nearby, you can connect with, or live far away but you have loads in common. And I think the more we use it for positive, the less we kind of feel the effects of the negative. What do you think?
Okay, I just want to say thanks for Kenneth for joining us. Hopefully we'll see you again on our next meeting, next video that we put out. Thank you for your input today. It's been great. And I was reading that, so I missed what my lead-in was. Sorry.
So I was just on about the positives of being able to build a community, finding your people, finding people you have things in common with. Because I think life can be a bit isolating sometimes, and social media can be isolating, but we can flip that on its head and make it a means for connecting with a new community.
Yeah, like I said, we've touched on it. It's an easy, good way to find friends and people who are like-minded. We can come back to that a bit later on about why that could also be a negative. But yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts, so quite often you can join a podcast group on Facebook where you can talk about the episodes. You wouldn't be able to do that without it. Again, it's just good finding like-minded people. And just come back to the negative is sometimes that can lead to a bit of an echo chamber. So you only get fed the information that reflects what you think anyway. So don't never hear anybody else's viewpoint. Which again, coming back to what we talked about earlier on about the allegations of fake news, is that it can be negative.
So this was something I hadn't thought about ever before till about 2 years ago, when kind of Brexit, everything was really political, and me and my mum can have quite differing political opinions sometimes. And I was very strong in my opinion. I mean, Mum wasn't that strong in her opinion, but either way, opinions are irrelevant. And I really had to start thinking about at that point that the accounts that I was following, the community that I was following, was reflecting exactly how I thought about the world. And I really, really took a step back to reevaluate who and what I was following, because I just don't think it's healthy to only hear your point of view on the world and your perspective. And at that point, I really cleansed my social media. I followed lots of people from different parts of the world, different communities, different hobbies, and my feed was a lot more balanced, and I just think it's just much healthier. It's nice to hear that you're right all the time and everyone agrees with you, but sometimes you just have to take a step back and go, okay, it's like the beach ball effect, isn't it? My two colours might be red and green, but yours are blue and orange. We're both right, we're just seeing it from a different perspective. So yeah, take a step back and try and follow diverse accounts that aren't all your opinions.
And again, the way that the social media is set up is if you spend a lot of time looking at one particular sort of feed, some sort of information, it thinks, oh, they like that, let's give them more of that, push it out to you may be interested in. So it does sort of send you down a one direction route. So again, just something to be mindful of. Charlotte.
I feel like do you know, I'm so brave reading out loud like this. just complimenting myself there. I feel like social media has helped to educate me about other people's experiences and other people's cultures and beliefs, and also what's happening in the world. I feel it has made me more compassionate and more aware of things. Yes, Charlotte, totally agree. And that's what I found, that my social media just wasn't diverse enough at all. It was like just Instagram models and people that agreed with me, which isn't good. It can be really good, can't it, to widen your knowledge on everything. Yeah, 100% agree, Charlotte. And your social media is your responsibility. If you're feeling rubbish when you go on social media, we can use it for good. Yeah, obviously there are lots of things against us, but I know when I'm feeling rubbish, all I need to do is cleanse my feed. And that's maybe one of my biggest top tips for protecting your mental health while using social media. Cleanse your feed. If an account makes you feel rubbish about yourself for any reason, just unfollow it. If someone's bothering you or offending you or cyberbullying, anything like that, block it. You have control of your social media. Sometimes we can feel like it has control over us. It doesn't. Go on your privacy, sort your privacy settings out. If you are getting harassed, there are sections in there where you can put trigger words. So say, let's not give we don't need an example.
Don't give examples.
No. Not going to give an example, but you can put words in. If there's kind of certain words that you don't want to hear in your comments, you can select them words, and then they will be filtered out. You won't see them. There are comment protection sections. Be careful what information you've got on your social media. Like, in the world that we live in now, we're made to believe that kind of we're accessible to everyone and anyone can contact us at any point. Well, no, that's within your control, and it's within your control what information you share about yourself as well. So just check your privacy settings, make that a regular thing. Am I happy with sharing my email on my Instagram? Am I happy with this information being accessible? If you're not, get rid of it. Check your settings. There are lots of ways you can protect your privacy on social media. So just make sure you're doing that. What was the thought I started with then? I went on a tangent, didn't I? Yeah, your social media is your responsibility. If you're not feeling good, you're following the wrong stuff. And also, pick a social media. Don't get FOMO. We don't need fear of missing out. Just pick one, pick two. We don't need 10 different social media. It's a lot for our little brains to manage. Just pick one that you like. I have Instagram. That's one that makes me happy. I like the arty nature of the pictures. I think it's quite creative, and I'm quite visual, so I do really love Instagram. But I don't really bother with Twitter because I find I get too angry about what's happening in the world, and I get a bit political, and I come off feeling angry. So I think, nope, that one's not for me. Facebook, I don't really do anymore. I mean, there's loads in there. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I tend to keep it just Instagram because for my mental health and how anxious I get, managing one social media, what I put out there, what I let in, I find managing one social media a lot easier. I don't know what anybody thinks about that. Claire, use social media to your advantage. If you have hobbies or interests, find a group with people with similar interests. Yeah, and obviously Instagram's kind of my thing. Search hashtags. That's your best way. So if you're into golfing, hashtag golfing Stoke, hashtag Stoke golfer, whatever it might be, and you can connect with like-minded people. I don't know how you do it on Facebook. There's loads of groups, isn't there?
Yeah, just put a search in.
Yeah, just put a search in. Has anyone got any favourite social medias? Good advice, Claire. There is good stuff on there. It's very true, Jackie. Thank you. Any favourite social medias? Mine's Insta. What's yours?
Mine's Facebook. I don't understand Twitter. I don't understand Instagram. I think that's just becoming an age thing now.
Do you know what TikTok is?
I do know what TikTok is, but again, never used it.
TikTok's where it's at with the young people. It's very funny, you know. So at the start of lockdown, I was like, I'm not getting on TikTok. My 9-year-old niece is. We're not doing this, Megan. You're 26 now. Come on. Instagram, I can show off my allotment. It's full of plants. I mean, I would be very happy to scroll and see your plants, Andrea. So I was like, yeah, it's for kids. I'm not going on TikTok. By the end of lockdown, I lose 3 hours a night just laughing at TikToks. So funny. So funny. Charlotte's favourite is Instagram. I like to share my memories on my personal and share positivity on my wellness account. I love both of your accounts, Charlotte. So yeah, that's another real positive as well. Self-promotion and helping other people. So like Charlotte's wellness account, all of our accounts, they're to help people. Little nuggets of advice, little signposting, little bit of positive support. I mean, if you scroll through my Instagram, it's like Lorraine. I love TikTok, so it is so funny. It is one of them where it's like, I'm not getting on the TikTok bandwagon. Then you're on it, and yeah, you're up at midnight laughing at someone doing something daft. Yeah, we can share real positive messages, and trigger change, massive change sometimes. Things like that have been big in the news have come from social media through the power of sharing and connecting with each other. There's loads of positives we can take from social media. Just being aware of both, isn't it? What else do we have on my top tips? Notifications, that's another top tip. If you're listening to this now thinking, yeah, I probably do need to cleanse my feed and manage how much time I'm spending on social media, switch your notifications off. That is the best thing that I did on my phone, because my phone would pop off Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, text, everything. And I just don't do it anymore. I switch it off. To be honest, I still spend way too much time on social media, but I'm sure I spend less because my phone isn't buzzing every 2 minutes. I go on Instagram when I want to go on Instagram, so I don't get any like pop-ups through on my phone. That made a massive difference to me. The only pop-ups I do get is positive affirmations every hour, and that's another point on how we can use kind of our social media and technology positively. There are so many apps to aid your mental health. So I have positive affirmations, screen time, tells me my screen time. What else do I have? Health apps. They can obviously be really helpful, but don't get obsessive. What other positive apps are there? Calm. I don't know if anyone's got Calm.
Calm and Headspace.
Calm and Headspace. Yeah, we can use it for good. What else? I think I wrote some down. Obviously, the moment off time and hold for managing the screen time and social media usage. I can't remember what else. What other positive apps have we got? Ones to manage your time. If you're a bit of an organizer like me, there's things that you can have lists and post-it notes and reminders to keep you on track for the day. Another kind of little talking point I put on is online strangers are still strangers. So just be safe online. There are lots and lots of information and articles online on how we can keep ourselves safe. One of the biggest ones is what I said before, the privacy. Just be careful what you share. Check your Notion. Oh, Charlotte, Notion helps me to stay organised and write lists. I've never heard of Notion. I'm writing that down. I don't know what that's going to be about, but definitely going to have a look. You're going to have to tell me about that, Charlotte. What's it about? What other talking points did we have? Have we covered dissatisfaction with our own lives and ourselves? We have, haven't we? Yeah, too much social media can cause that obs. Jackie, notes/reminders can be both positive and negative. Again, it's just about being aware of yourself, what's healthy for you, what's good for you, what helps you and what hinders you. I can get a little bit obsessive with notes. I must have about 200 notes in my notes section. But sometimes I just find it easier to take it out of there, put it on my notes. It just makes my head a little bit quieter, I think. But it can be obsessive. Too much of anything's not good. And I think that's the whole point of social media, isn't it? And whether it's positive or negative, too much of it is obviously not great. Too much of anything is not great, but we can also use it for so many positive things. Can we think of any more positives? I think we said them all, haven't we? Staying connected, different opinions, helping other people, making an impact on the world, putting yourself out there, making new friends, faster communication, and smart things like this. We'd have all gone under, wouldn't we, in lockdown without social media and technology. Andrea, activity trackers are great, keeps us moving, physical activity to boost the mood. That's another thing as well. It can be a real negative of social media. It can really aid laziness. And if you're a little bit lazy like me, you like to lie in bed in the morning, I can feel like I'm doing something if I'm on social media. Whereas the reality is, I'm just lying in bed scrolling. So, yeah, things to boost you and keep you on track with moving your body. Move your body. Sorry, I don't know why I do that to myself. Claire, I have a rule that I don't friend anyone who I haven't met in real life or on a group. I have a friend in New Zealand I've met in real life. A lot of people misrepresent themselves. They do.
You don't know who's behind that name necessarily, unless you've met them, do you?
Yeah, connect with the people, but make sure you're connecting with them over FaceTime after a certain amount of time, or you meet for a coffee. I think obviously you can't go into everything skeptical, like you're a catfish, you're not real, you're an avatar. However, there is a certain amount of time you should speak to someone and then actually go, shall we have a FaceTime, a video call, meet for a coffee, just make sure you are who you say you are. And I think anyone real wouldn't have an issue with that. So just be safe on your social media use. Has anyone else got any top tips for keeping their mental health on track while using social media? I do find it's a massive influence on my life. I can tell if I'm using social media too much or not, for sure. My mood definitely changes. Any advice from you lot? I'm trying to think if there's any points I've missed. We have covered it all. So many things. Hashtag fake news.
That's why Megan just reads through her notes to make sure we haven't missed anything. Just Lorraine's asked me just to remind everybody we've got quite a number of community peer support groups open to the public. Again, our booking system still applies, so you need to get in touch with Lorraine. psg.hereforyou@change.org.uk or on a phone number that we'll drop into the comments shortly. But again, we've got peer support groups open at Redgate Community Centre in Clayton, that's on a Monday at 1 o'clock. Unitarian Meeting House in Newcastle, that's on a Tuesday at 6:30 in the evening. And we've got the New Bradwell Lodge one as well, that's on Friday at 1 o'clock. There's still time to book for that one today. And did you come across any more notes?
No, we've actually covered.
More comments.
Yeah, we've covered everything. But hi, Catherine.
Hi, Catherine. And Jackie, knowing what you see or read very often is not a true reflection. No, absolutely.
Yeah. Kim Kardashian doesn't actually look like that. I bet she does actually. Oh, that's how I feel when I come off Instagram.
Well, there was one, was it a few months ago with one of the Kardashians, an unfiltered picture leaked out and it caused a bit of an issue.
Yes.
So yeah, like I said, not what we see
not
is
always
not necessarily real.
And I do think, like I say, Instagram is my chosen devil social media and I live on it. I do think there is a bit of a movement to show unfiltered images, real people, different body shapes, etc., different types of people, and I do think it's good, but I think you have to make sure you're following them accounts. So I make sure I follow a lot of body positivity accounts, lots of so I follow like the ones that just give me happy quotes, little lines of poems. What else do I follow? Strong women accounts because of strong women rule. And my feed is just pretty positive. So I go on there and I have my little law of attraction quotes for the day, a bit of like women empowerment, some nice nature posts, rather than scrolling and just seeing, like you say, the Kardashians, Beyonce, and just airbrushed perfection. And then I look in the mirror and I'm absolutely fuming. So I just don't do that to myself anymore. It's quite a positive feed. I hope one of you goes off today and cleanses your feed and follows positive accounts. Like I say on Instagram, just search hashtags. That's how I feel today. Like hashtag body positivity, hashtag mental health matters, hashtag recovery is possible, hashtag self-help, whatever it is that you want to follow, hashtag nature, plants, law of attraction, positivity, whatever it is, and you'll find accounts. And even if it's just in between them kind of Instagram models, you get that little nice quote or the view of the sea. It just breaks up the toxicity of airbrushed perfection, you know?
Yeah, well, like you said, it's lovely to see pictures of animals or nature places on social media. Not everyone is able to go out and about. It's good to share. Yeah, most of my social media photos are BB, my little dog, or Tilly, his mum. I do like to see sometimes the memories that come back of this was 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I like them when they pop up.
Yeah, you get that on Facebook, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have Facebook. Yeah, I don't like my memory. My past chasing me like that. No. No. I'll often, as well, it's a weird one, go through my grid on Instagram and like take off pictures that don't feel like me anymore. I'll always like filter what's going out of me as well as filter what's coming into me. That sounded weird. Any final thoughts on social media? I feel like we've talked about so much and we've all got kind of similar opinions as well, haven't we? Which is nice. But even the fact that we're having this conversation is good. I think it's when we're just sleepwalking through life and spending 6 hours a day scrolling. That sounds extreme, but I've done it before. My phone has told me. Disgusting behaviour. That's when it's an issue, when we're not aware. So just be aware. I feel like you're going to talk about the OCN.
I am going to talk about the OCN. So I mentioned last week about our volunteer training course. It's accredited through the Open College Network. We've got a slight update on that now on our next run of it. So again, just as a reminder, our volunteer training program gives you all the skills that you need to be able to run our peer support groups. To go on the course, it involves either one morning or one evening each week for 17 weeks. They're either going to be on a choice of a Tuesday evening or a Thursday morning. It is accredited, like I mentioned before. It's 12 credits at level 2 and 9 credits at level 3. So it's an absolute brilliant way if you want to just find out more about mental health and helping others. And again, if you've experienced mental distress of any sort, it's great. That's how I first started on the OCN at the time. I wanted to find out more about what was happening to me. That's why I went on to the training program. Personally, at the time, I wasn't going to be a volunteer, but things happen. Became a volunteer, and 12 years later, I'm still with Changes. So again, it can be useful in that regards. Again, it helps if you've got an interest and want to help others. It just give you a firm foundation on which to build for anyone wanting to pursue further studies in the area of mental health. It's a very in-depth course, but it's very accessible. It's run by Steve Thorley. He's absolutely brilliant. I have tried to get him to come on camera, but in no uncertain terms he said no. So listen to us. The next course will actually begin on the week beginning the 4th of October. It will finish in spring of 2022. So I said it's a long course. We'll have breaks for half term and the Christmas holidays. It will take place definitely at Changes in Stoke. Depending on what happens in the winter, sometimes we may need to move over to Zoom. That's just uncertain at the moment, like many things. We've got a few open events coming up. We'll put all these out separately, so you're not having to remember them, but we've got a few open events coming up in September, both at the Haregate Centre in Leek and here at Changes, where you can find out more about the course. But we'll also pop in as well, just in the comments section, the expression of interest form that you can just say that you're interested in joining the course. So that's it on that one. Thank you for listening.
Yay! Any final thoughts before we end our live? We've been live for 45 minutes.
I know.
Wow, I can waffle. I'm getting that in the comments now. That was very clever.
Copy and paste.
Yeah, it felt efficient.
Does anybody have anything else they want to ask us before we sign off for the day? Anything that you might want us to talk about on our next video? We will be back next week. Well, I'm not sure when yet, but we will be back next week.
If not, I'll be thinking of something else I want to waffle on about.
I'm not sure if this training course link will copy in its entirety.
No, I don't think it has.
No, it's just copied the words and put the hyperlink in. We'll put that in separately.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? I don't think so. Well, thank you for joining us on this wonderful Friday morning. Wow, we started with one earring, we've ended with the wrong day. On this lovely Friday morning, I really wanted to chat about this today because it's something I feel quite passionate about. So if you don't give me any, don't worry, Megan, Chris will tell you I'm a waffler. I mean, we might have to have a waffle off. If there is anything you want me to talk about, us to talk about, then please let us know, because if not, you're just going to get something else that I really feel passionate about, and I'm just going to waffle again next week. What time are we going to do next week?
I don't know. Do you want to go for the same time?
Shall we go the same time again? 11 a.m. Friday, everybody. Seems like it worked pretty well. I will put that out as a live event again, so you can all see when we are next coming up.
Sorry, I'm just very quickly just checking my my calendar for next week before we agree to that. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, 11 a.m. next Friday.
Yeah, and if you don't give me something to talk about, it's going to be something else I feel passionate about. Obviously, mental health related. I'm not just going to talk about chocolate. Good idea. Jackie Williamson, thank you. Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Thank you, and we'll see you again next week.
You certainly will. If I don't see you for a week, I'll see you through a window. Oh, I don't have to end it. Where have I gone? Every time. Technology is us.
Thank you, Lorraine. If you can tell us where the off button is, that would be brilliant.
Oh, here. Woohoo!
It's hidden off screen.